Higher Education Commission. Welcome to our summer Tennessee Higher Education Commission meeting. I now call it to order. I want to thank everybody for participating, and I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. The first order of business is we will call the roll. Pursuant to Governor Lee's Executive Order number 51, because we are all participating remotely, please indicate whether anyone else is with you at your location witnessing this meeting. Madam Secretary, if you would please call the roll.
Chairman Cope.
Here.
Commissioner Dishner.
Present and alone.
Commissioner Coben.
Here, and I am with Dr. Howe.
Commissioner Moser.
Here.
Commissioner Stafford.
Here and alone.
Commissioner Watson.
Here and alone.
Commissioner Winton.
Here and alone.
Commissioner Morrison. Secretary Hargett. Commissioner Wharton. Comptroller Wilson.
I'm right here. Ain't nobody with me.
Treasurer Lillard.
Present alone.
Commissioner Hassler.
Here and alone.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you all for answering the roll. The next item of business we have in order to stay in compliance with the law is a statement that needs to be read because we are meeting electronically due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Madam Secretary, if you would please read the statement.
Chairman Cope and Commission members, in Executive Order number 51, Governor Bill Lee suspended Tennessee's open meeting laws as necessary to allow a governing body to meet by electronic means and conduct essential business under certain conditions if the governing body determines that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. The conditions are live access to the meeting by the public if possible, no adjustment to existing quorum, meeting notice, or voting requirements, clear notice to the public of the meeting agenda and how to access the meeting in a manner reasonably accessible to members of the public. Each part of the meeting subject to the Open Meetings Act must be audible to the public. Each member participating electronically must be able to simultaneously hear each other and speak to each other during the meeting. Any member participating electronically shall identify the persons present at the location from which the member is participating. Each member participating electronically must be provided before the meeting with any documents that will be discussed at the meeting with substantially the same content as those documents actually presented. All votes taken during a meeting shall be by roll call vote, and electronic participation allows a member to vote but does not make a member eligible for a per diem. The Tennessee Higher Education Commission has ensured that each of the required conditions have been met. For purposes of this THEC meeting, we are using WebEx, which accommodates up to 1,000 participants. Commission members and Commission staff with items on today's agenda were given a link that allows them to participate in the meeting. All other attendees were given a link that allows them to watch the meeting but not unmute themselves. However, attendees will be able to raise their hand during the meeting and be unmuted by the host for participation as needed. Notice of the meeting, agenda, materials, WebEx link for those participating via webinar, call-in number for those participating by phone only, and applicable codes were posted to the THEC website and emailed to members of the Commission last week. Notice of the meeting, agenda, materials, call-in number, and applicable codes were posted to the THEC website and emailed to members of the Commission last week. All votes will be by roll call, and there have been no changes to existing quorum, meeting notice, or voting requirements. Each member has introduced themselves and listed all persons at their respective location. Lastly, members will be considered present for voting purposes, but not for purposes of a per diem. All conditions listed in Executive Order number 51 having been met, the only remaining item needed to ensure compliance with the Open Meetings Act and Executive Order number 51 is for the Commission to determine that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Chairman Cope, that completes my comments.
Thank you, Shauna. The floor is now open for a motion to that effect, please.
Mr. Chairman, this is Vernon Stafford. I move that the meeting I move that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennessee in light of the COVID-19 outbreak, and that Ms. Jennings' comments be included in the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Stafford. With the motion, is there a second?
Second from Dishner.
Second from Commissioner Dishner. Thank you very much. Is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope,
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Moser,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Watson,
Aye.
Commissioner Winton,
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson,
Yep.
Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 10 ayes and 0 nays.
Thank you. The motion carries.
I'd like to vote aye, please.
Secretary, is it Secretary?
Okay, so Secretary Hargett, we will have you voting aye. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Apologize for that, Secretary Hargett.
No problem.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes.
Okay, we have 11 ayes. The motion is carried and the statement is adopted. As you all know, this is the second or third time we've met in this format, and so what I'm going to do next is ask Director Krause to go over some housekeeping issues with respect to how the meeting will function this morning. Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few brief reminders to the members of the commission. As you'll see, the posture we're in with WebEx panelist function makes this hopefully flow a lot better than our spring meeting. I think it will. If you look across the top bar, all members of the commission that are present are the only members that have their video on, so I think that's helpful. Throughout the meeting, if you have a question or a comment, first and foremost, if you unmute yourself and identify, we have a small enough number of people on that Chairman Cope should be able to recognize that. Alternately, you can utilize the chat function or raise hand, which will let us know if you go to the the participant bar, you can actually let us know that you would like to talk. But again, with just the commission members on, Chairman, I think that we're going to probably flow better than we have in the past.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mike on those topics? Okay, hearing none, the next item on our agenda is adoption of today's agenda. So at this point, the floor is open.
Move approval of the agenda for the day.
Okay, is that Commissioner Dishner? Thank you. With the motion, is there a second?
Second, Vernon Stafford.
Second from Commissioner Stafford. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope,
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Moser,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Watson,
Aye.
Commissioner Winton, Commissioner Winton,
Aye.
Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes.
Very good. Having received 11 ayes, the motion carries and the agenda is adopted. Our next item of business is approval of the minutes from the May 15th, 2020 meeting. At this point, the floor is open, and I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. This is Commissioner Winton.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Winton, with the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Secretary Hargett, I second.
Thank you, Secretary Hargett, with the second. Is there any discussion on adoption of the minutes? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Coe,
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Moser,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Watson,
Aye.
Commissioner Winton,
Aye.
Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes.
Very good, thank you. Having received 11 ayes, the motion is adopted. The minutes are approved. Next, we need to approve our minutes from the meeting that we conducted on June 26, 2020. And just as with the previous set of minutes, the floor is open, and I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting of June 26, 2020.
Move approval.
Okay, Commissioner Dishner with a motion to approve. Is there a second?
This is Pam Coben.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Coben with the second. Is there any discussion with respect to adoption of the minutes from our specially called June 26th meeting? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Coe,
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Moser,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Watson,
Aye.
Commissioner Winton,
Aye.
Secretary Hargett,
Chancellor Carver just sent me a text and said I was being a little aggressive with my ayes. So I just want to humbly say aye.
Comptroller Wilson,
An aggressive aye.
Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes.
Very good. Having received 11 ayes, the motion is carried and the minutes are approved. The next item on our agenda is a portion where I give my report, which I will now give. First of all, good morning again, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the THEC Summer Commission meeting. I appreciate you all making the time to be here and to participate. And again, I really hope that you and your families are staying healthy and safe. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome our new student member, Dawson Hassler. And Dawson, by the way, thank you for the text message, and I've got it, and I will respond, and I appreciate you reaching out to me. Dawson is a rising senior at Tennessee Tech University, studying political science. Dawson, you are the next in a line of great students who've represented our state so well, and we are sincerely eager to get to know you and to work with you. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr.
I'd
Chairman.
also like to congratulate our Vice Chairman, Commissioner Vernon Stafford, on his reappointment by Lieutenant Governor McNally and Speaker Sexton. Vernon has been an essential part of this board, and we are thrilled that he will remain with us through 2026. Congratulations, Commissioner Stafford. We continue to adjust to our new, yes, sir. We continue to adjust to our new normal in light of COVID-19. This virtual meeting is evidence of that. I must commend the THEC staff for the speed at which they've adapted and innovated to continue supporting students and to continue to move the state toward its attainment and workforce goals, prioritizing, of course, students, faculty, staff, and the health and welfare of all those concerned. We spoke in May about the efforts in partnership with many of our campuses across the state to use 3D printers to print face shields for medical personnel requiring personal protective equipment, or as we've come to know it now, PPE. This effort continues. To date, higher education has printed over 170,000 face shields that have been distributed to hospitals, clinics, and schools throughout the state. Further, the COVID-19 public health crisis has underscored the importance of interagency collaboration across state government. In partnership with the Department of Health, THEC staff has worked to ensure that all public higher education institutions have access to COVID-19 test kits for use as they reopen their campuses to in-person activities this fall. Over 150,000 tests have been secured by the campuses, with more on the way as the semester progresses. Along with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency and Governor Lee's Unified Command Group, the THEC team, led in this effort by Mitch Curry, is conducting crisis response tabletop exercises with campus leadership, virtually or on-site, at every single campus. In doing so, this emergency planning exercise illuminates for the campuses the challenges that they may face should a COVID-19 outbreak occur on their campuses. It also provides an opportunity to strategize under the guidance of TEMA management professionals. Finally, the THEC team has been working closely with the governor's office to distribute federal funding provided by the CARES Act and the coronavirus relief funds. Campuses will have access to these resources to best support their students, staff, and faculty, as well as their facilities over the next academic year, which we all know will likely be challenging. In a time when so much feels so uncertain, I am confident that we, this commission, and the THEC staff and team remain entirely and fully committed to supporting students' success and supporting our campuses so that they thrive and we continue to meet the workforce demands of our state. Nothing has changed in that regard. While the way we do business may look a little different, our goals remain unchanged. We remain relentlessly focused on increasing the number of Tennesseans with a post-secondary credential, such that they may enter the workforce to support their families and their communities. And I continue to be so proud of these efforts, and I am very grateful to be a part of this. And with that, that concludes my report. Director Krause, it's now time for your report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank, as always, all the commission members who devoted time over the last week or so to get ready for today's meeting. I think the best theme of today's meeting in my mind is the fact you just heard from Chairman Cope how focused we are on the COVID crisis. At the same time, there are very important routine functions that need to be accomplished. We need to approve new academic programs. We need to put in place policies to shorten the time it takes to get a new academic program in the state. And we need to evaluate how academic programs that have already been approved are performing. And I think you'll see that throughout today's meeting content. I want to also echo the chairman by welcoming Commissioner Hassler to the board. We had the opportunity while doing the COVID tabletop exercise with Tennessee Tech to meet Dawson in person. And I will just tell you, Commissioner Hassler, the student perspective on this board is crucial. And we're really appreciative of your willingness to serve. And then also to congratulate Commissioner Stafford. We are grateful to you, Commissioner. You have an incredibly intense day job with First Horizon Bank, and the fact that you're willing to devote time and energy to our commission and our staff is greatly appreciated. I want to start off with some exciting news, and this is actually the first time we have discussed this broadly and publicly. It's the first time many of our staff will hear this news because we were trying to keep it under an embargo as we were instructed. As you all know, THEC is a member of a National Association of Higher Education Agencies known as SHEO, the State Higher Education Executive Officers Association. Every year, SHEO recognizes one state agency as being the exemplar across the country, the agency that best embodies what it means to be a coordinating board in higher education, how you maintain a focus on the big picture policy stuff while also always preserving a focus on individual students. And so each year, SHEO picks one agency to be recognized, which what is called the Exceptional Agency Award. And we received the news a few weeks ago that this year THEC was named as the nation's exceptional higher education agency. This is a video call, so applause is probably a little bit awkward, but we're proud. We're excited. In my mind, this represents two things. First and foremost, our team. And the time of COVID has been a great reminder, even though our folks are dealing with the same things in their lives that we're all dealing with right now, trying to figure out childcare, trying to figure out how to work from home and still get their mission accomplished. And as always, our staff has risen to the occasion. And I believe that this award represents their work and commitment. The second thing it represents is this board. I have been in and around THEC now for 13 years in various capacities. I would say I believe this board, you all as lay members, are at a place that I've never seen the commission in terms of being a sum of your parts, in terms of your dedication and devoting your time when you were all really busy. And I think that when you have a great staff and a great board, yeah, things like this happen. So in a few weeks, we'll be recognized formally. We've actually have already received some informal recognition from both the governor and the legislature. I think they've recognized this is a pretty cool achievement, and it speaks well of our state. So I wanted to share that news. As more news becomes available when the official announcement is made, we will, of course, share that with the commission. You all may remember at the special called meeting, Commissioner Winton posed to me a question relative to our internal budget. I appreciated the question at the time because we often, as agency staff, are interacting with the commission around our big picture duties around higher education. The reality is myself and certainly the bureau chiefs, we spend a pretty significant amount of our time thinking about this team though, thinking about our employees, thinking about our budget. We were very appreciative to the governor and the General Assembly for holding our colleges and universities harmless in this year's budget. I think that was better than anybody could have hoped for, and it will greatly aid our campuses as they seek to pursue affordability. As a state agency, however, THEC has not been held harmless, and we do have a cut target that we are pursuing. And so in the interest of transparency, I want to walk the board through a couple things. First, a really quick reminder of our internal budget and how it works, which will, I hope, provide a foundation for some discussion. Second, the particulars around the cut proposal that we have submitted to the governor and Commissioner Ely. First, anytime I'm thinking about the agency's budget, I'm thinking about it to some extent as a health checkup. And I do want to share that with the commission because I have the opportunity now to kind of talk about something that isn't the big picture of higher education. When I'm thinking about the hat I wear leading this agency that I do collaboratively with the bureau chiefs, I think about three things. How do our audits look? How does our budget look? And how does our staffing look? So really quickly on our audits. Grateful to Comptroller Wilson and his staff as always. We are audited every year, unlike some state agencies, just due to the amount of capital that flows through this office. We also had our sunset audit within the last 12 months. That occurs on a 5-year cycle. Having a sunset audit with an agency of this complexity with no findings is significant. And that, again, is a tribute to our team. It's a tribute to Stephanie Strong, who is our head accountant, and Jason Cavender, who's our chief fiscal officer. Having a 2019 sunset audit with no findings is one of the things I'm probably most proud of. And we're getting ready already for a 2023 sunset audit. Our annual audit, we actually received yesterday the final printed report from the comptroller, and regarding our fiscal compliance and compliance with generally accepted accounting practices around the $2.1 billion that we oversee directly or indirectly, and the $500 million of financial aid that we have direct accountability for, we received no findings on that audit as well. When you're doing an agency health checkup, it is a great asset to be able to have some external validation, and I believe these audits are significant. Second, our internal budget status. About 4 years ago, we were in a precarious internal budget position, in my opinion. Every state agency has to be very mindful of a term that we call salary equity. That is your staffing in ratio to the amount of funding you are receiving from the state for staff operations. To be frank, 4 years ago, we were upside down. We were upside down by about $300,000. Finance and administration is tolerant of that. They understand that agencies are often, it's a moving target sometimes, but myself and the bureau chiefs set it as a short-term goal to get in the green as a basic function of a state agency. And as of yesterday, we are positive $229,000 in terms of our staff salary equity. And then the final area on an agency health checkup that I think is important, and I don't always get to talk about this with the commission, is our people. Who are we? What's our composition? So when you look at the 178 people that have THEC or TSAC on their pay stub, we really come from three groups. The center mass group are 112 full-time state employees. They appear on the state staffing pattern. We then, as a function of our information system, which we run 2 information systems, and this requires a great deal of time behind the scenes that we don't share with the board normally. We run the state financial aid data system for all colleges. That is run out of this agency. And second, we run the student information system, or SIS, for all colleges, also run out of this agency. Jason Cavender leads that work. We have about 7 full-time state employees devoted to that, but like many state agencies, we utilize IT contractors to provide much of the programming. So we have 13 IT contractors. And then we have field staff. Field staff are funded through state funds, but they do not reside on my organizational chart. They reside actually at Austin Peay's chart. Austin Peay is the fiscal agent for field staff. And those are 53 staff members who are either Advise Tennessee or Reconnect. And their job is to be student-facing out in the community. So when we start off our bureau chiefs meeting every Monday, we take a look at an org chart with 178 people. This is, above everything else, a very human endeavor, just like everything. And those 178 people are the lifeblood and the heartbeat. And when they're doing great things, you get a clean audit and the SHIO Exceptional Agency Award. So for our staff members that are on, I don't often get to talk about this internal side with our commission, but I hope our staff and our team know just how incredibly proud I am to be part of the team and how you all have persevered over the last several months. Let me pause there. I think I've thrown a lot at the commission. Any questions around what I've just discussed? Okay. Let me move on then to our fiscal pie chart. And this is an overview of, and it dovetails nicely with our audit discussion. This is an overview of how we look at our budget. And this is our internal operational budget. There is an additional about $1.5 billion that flows through either the funding formula or tuition that we have some coordinating role in. But when it comes down to the money that comes in this agency that we either use to operate the agency or that we disperse to campuses, our number is $570.3 million, which is larger than many state agencies. And that requires a full-time accounting staff. Again, Stephanie Strong is our head CPA, and then she has a fiscal staff every day. We are reconciling invoices with massive amounts of money, as you'll see here, flowing to and then through the agency. I'm going to walk through each of these components just because I think it's helpful. Let me start with state administration, and hold this number in your head when we talk about our agency reduction plan, because when finance and administration tells us we need to hit a $1.3 million target, that is not cutting $1.3 million out of 570. It's cutting $1.3 million out of 8.8. Just to be clear, that's a very significant target for us to hit. So we receive $8.8 million from the General Assembly to operate this agency. I think we're a pretty good buy because we generate 60% of our staff costs from somewhere other than the state. We generate it either through federal grants, $6.4 million, fees in the work led by Dr. Bellard Chase at $2.0 million, and some lottery administrative funds for THEC staff directly engaged in lottery activities. And I want to be very clear to every commission member on the staff. We regularly look at any dollar of lottery funding that is being used here at this agency for administrative purposes and constantly assess the need to utilize lottery dollars in an administrative capacity. And proud to report to you all, thanks to Jason Cavender's work, by the end of the year, we will be reducing, not increasing, reducing our need for lottery administrative dollars, which is tough to pull off while we're also doing a reduction on the state side. So those are our internal operations dollars you see highlighted. Federal grants, which is the Gear Up program primarily, state administration, DPSA fees, and of the $367 million in lottery, and a infinitesimally small decimal point used for those folks who are administering the lottery scholarships. The money that flows through is what you see in green and yellow. And this is an immense $500 million in financial aid that the agency has oversight of. Questions on our budget composition? So let me move on to our reduction plan. I do want to start by thanking the governor and the General Assembly again. THEC, while not held harmless from cuts, I believe the target that was assigned to us is fair. They are asking us to hit about a $1.3 million target. We have had our first budget hearing with Commissioner Ely in which we presented this plan. The plan has two pieces. First, reducing vacant positions. I will tell you, these three positions, when you have 112 state slots to run $500 million, losing three positions stings. Three positions may not sound like much. It is. And every single position we have matters when you have 112 state employees. These three positions have been vacant. We have a plan to reallocate the work that we would have assigned to the positions, and they do generate significant recurring savings, and that's the key word, recurring. If you are the governor and the General Assembly seeking to work through this financial situation, recurring is what matters. Non-recurring is less helpful. This enables us to save right at about $250,000, I believe, in recurring costs. That is on the salary staff side. On the programmatic side, we sat down beginning about 6 weeks ago, once F&A had communicated to myself and our CFO, Cavender, what our target would be. We began to look at two things. One, were there programs that we could be able to eliminate totally? And two, were there programs that we could reduce in pieces but still serve students? And so let me start off with our contract education program. This is a modest 2% reduction to both Meharry Medical College and Southern College of Optometry, both of whom receive state funds in order to allow Tennesseans to attend their programs. I'll be very honest, I'm sensitive to any reduction to a medical college, and especially as esteemed a medical college as Meharry right now. We could find a larger than 2% reduction here. I don't think we should right now. At this target level, if we were to go to a larger target level, we may have to increase that. At this target level, a 2% reduction helps us. It makes over $30,000 towards the plan. At the same time, it just feels counterintuitive to hurt the ability of a medical college to fill its seats in the middle of a pandemic. And again, certainly someone like Meharry that has such a storied role in Tennessee. We've enacted a modest reduction to our diversity and teaching program, which is work that Dr. Giesling leads, at a $4,200 reduction. That is not affecting these grants substantially. We do get into more substantial grant programs, though, when you see this below the line. Our adult learner program, that $20,000 is something that can be made up in travel and operational expenses. This will not have a significant effect. College coaching. This is where we actually subcontract with Tennessee Achieves and the Ayers Foundation to be the front porch for Tennessee Promise in their communities. This one hurts. This is likely someone that has been a full-time counselor having to move to part-time. And my gut would be 3 to 4 of those positions. However, in our discussions with those partnering organizations, they think they can meet their mission. They aren't concerned about their ability to be in schools. And I also think we need to be clear-eyed about the ability for anybody to be in schools during this budget year, just because of the inherent volatility of the public health situation. The Promise Bridge program is an example of a program that we are proposing to phase out completely for 2 reasons. One, I believe not just in the short term, but in the midterm, college campuses will not be willing to house high school students in a residential format for a very long time. I don't think that's just a year out. I think that's probably a 2 or 3 year out issue. And my concern would be that we keep in place a recurring stream of funding in the hopes that we one day return to the old way of operating. And I think that's a losing proposition. I think we have to find a new way to operate. And I think we need to phase out the program. And that is what we've proposed to the commissioner, and I believe that cut will be accepted. The reality is, even if the funding was in, it would be parked for a minimum of 2 years in my gut. We've got to find another way to reach these students virtually. The sales program. This is another program that we have sought to protect. As you all know, sales has led to a reduction in remediation of nearly 20 percentage points. In math remediation, it's a $3.3 million program, cutting $69,000 does provide a substantive cut. At the same time, it does not affect our ability to have sales field coordinators working with these students to reduce the need for math remediation. Advise Tennessee. We have 30 counselors across the state with 4 current vacant positions. Dr. Sharika Nelms leads that work here at the agency. Dr. House leads it as the bureau chief. And in their discussions, they believe that we can delete 4 vacant positions, reallocate schools to the 26 filled positions, and as you all see, enact a very substantive budget reduction that helps us towards our target. And then on the tuition and fee discount. This has been a frustrating program to administer for our colleges. We have had new fee discount programs enacted year after year, yet the funding has actually remained stagnant. At this point, it's a $20 million program with the state paying our colleges about $2 million. The colleges are then forced to eat the $17-odd million to make the program whole. My biggest concern with this program is that it does not achieve any meaningful public policy goal for the state. We are currently paying for state employees and many other people to take college courses, which is a virtue. However, we are not required to make those courses count towards any degree. And THEC, at the behest of the General Assembly, made several recommendations in 2016 as to how to hone this program to help move the needle for the state. As of yet, we haven't achieved progress on those public policy shifts. I hope we will in the coming year, because right now I have a concern that we're spending $2 million on a program that, 1, is underfunded, and 2, I'm not positive is helping the state achieve any workforce goals. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I have talked a lot, but I do want to pause if there are any questions. And Commissioner Winton, particularly, I want to address an issue you have raised with me, and that is our agency reserves. In the waning days of this session, there was a measure put in place that would allow, as needed, agency reserves to be swept. We maintain an agency reserve around the Division of Post-Secondary Authorization. Currently, that reserve does a few things. If you're a fee-funded enterprise, as our DPSA division is, I believe it is prudent fiscal management to have at least a year of operating on hand. And I think that is a standard practice across most state agencies. If our reserve were to be swept, that would be my number one concern that I would bring to you as a commission and ultimately to the administration. To be clear, we're not positive that's going to happen yet, but our reserve was written into the bill, and in theory, it could be swept. What I would do if that were to be pursued is make the strongest case I could that we always need to have, as a basic principle of fiscal management, 1 year of operating on hand. Remember, our state employees funded by these fees are literally enforcing the law. So these are laws that the General Assembly has given to our agency to regulate. We cannot do it with any fewer staff than we have now. The division has gone from 20 to 8 over the course of the last 4 years. So we're at our minimum staffing level, and I would argue we're at our minimum reserve level. And that is a case that we would have to make to Finance Administration at that time. I do want to clarify again, though, we have not been asked to sweep that reserve yet. Commissioner Winton, I do want to turn to you since you were the one that put this on our radar, and thank you again just for the opportunity.
Thank you,
Mike.
for,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Winton.
sorry about that. I just wanted to say thank you for the detailed overview. I think it's critically important that we as a commission get a better understanding as to how we operate in our own house, particularly when we're advising so many other houses on how their operation works. So I mean, there's difficulties with everyone going on right now, and so we're all trying to make those adjustments. So thank you, and thank you for outlining the plan as well to try to deal with all of the changes that we have coming up, and I suspect we probably are going to see more. So I hope that we will keep this on the forefront so we kind of all keep an idea as to what is happening and what changes that will occur moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Winton. Any other comments or questions for Mike?
Chairman Coe and Director Krause, just to add to Commissioner Winton's comments, my deep appreciation for the fact that everything you have presented here has been with careful consideration of what is best for the students of the state. And so
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you, Commissioner Dishner. Other questions or comments? Commissioner Coben?
Thank you, Chairman Coe. I just think as a commission, we should congratulate Executive Director Kraus and the staff on the amazing accomplishment of being named the #1 SHIO in the country. I'm so proud of our staff and all the work that you do. I'm proud to be a part of that work, but this really lies on your shoulders, and we appreciate you and everything you accomplish.
Commissioner, there have been a lot of things over the last several months that having to be virtual just kind of stings, and this is one of them. Because what I want to do is I want to get our team together and have a great celebration.
Me too.
We're going to be trying to think of other ways to do that, but I do appreciate your comments. As it has begun to leak out across the country, it's been fun to have other higher ed people kind of reach out and affirm that Tennessee, not just THEC, but Tennessee just has this really unique perch in higher education. And that, I think, contributed to this award. But there's no doubt we're going to try to find a way to celebrate as best we can. But I would love to just see all of our staff face to face and let them see this was their work that enabled this to happen. But I really appreciate your comments. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Coben. Other questions or comments?
Chairman Cope, no question from me, but just a comment, and it's been said so well by my fellow commissioners, the great work that the commission is doing, the staff is doing tremendously positive work, especially given the COVID pandemic that we're dealing with right now and having to alter everything in the midst of it, as well as moving at the same time. But I think that the recognition as the top SHIO organization really speaks volumes in terms of what we already know here in the state of Tennessee. And we've got a top-notch higher education organization, and we are serving the state and the people of the state very well. So I just thank you, Executive Director Kraus, for your leadership. And again, we can't say enough about the team that you've got working with you. They do a marvelous job, and I just want to say thank you to all of the team members within the THEC organization.
Well said, Commissioner Stafford. Thank you very much. Well said. Any other questions or comments? Okay, very good. Thanks very much, and thank you for the report, Mike. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That concludes my report.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item on the agenda is our consent calendar, and as is our normal practice, unless there is an objection, we'll consider the two items that are on the consent calendar at the same time on a collective basis. And so unless there is an objection at this point, the floor is open, and I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar items as presented.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Dishner, with the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Commissioner Stafford, second.
Thank you, Commissioner Stafford, with the second. The floor is open for discussion. Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Coe?
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner?
Aye.
Commissioner Coben? Commissioner Coben?
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Moser?
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson?
Aye.
Commissioner Winton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson?
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard?
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler?
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes and 0 nays.
Thank you very much. The motion is carried. The consent calendar items are approved. Next, we'll turn to our regular calendar, which has as a first item the expedited program approval policy, which we will turn to Betty Dandridge Johnson to speak about.
Okay. Good morning, Chairman Cope, Director Kraus, and Commission members. I direct your attention to Agenda Item 1, which is the Expedited Academic Program Policy. And in the spirit of this policy, this will be an expedited presentation. And with that said, the momentum for this expedited policy for new academic programs came from the recommendation of our Future of Work Task Force. This task force was charged with the responsibility of how to serve our state's needs in a rapidly changing world, especially now in light of COVID-19. The primary goal of this policy is to decrease the approval time for new academic programs while still assuring that new programs are quality programs, meet student demand, avoid unnecessary duplication, and have the institutional capacity to deliver the program. These critical components will not be compromised with this expedited policy. The expedited academic policy aligns with our usual new academic program policy. And it includes all of the critical steps, beginning with campus interest in proposing a new program, and finally with commission action and monitoring of the new program. I'm trying to get to the next slide. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Maybe press the down arrow.
Okay. Only academic programs that are in high demand will be eligible for the expedited policy. Examples of high demand programs are STEM programs and programs developed in response to workforce needs. The proposed policy will exclude doctoral programs and all programs that may require approval from SACs. The public comment period for institutions to provide feedback will be shortened from 15 to 10 days, and if the commission has not approved the program within 1 year, the letter of notification is no longer valid. Lastly, the policy will allow institutions greater flexibility during the approval process when institutional governing board approval must be received. Currently, academic programs must be approved by their governing board at the beginning of the approval process and prior to commission action. THEC staff recommends approval of this policy, and I'll be pleased to answer any questions.
Hi, Betty. I think I'll start with a quick question. What are the? I know we traditionally have criteria for high demand programs. Do those criteria remain the same, or are we adopting new criteria to make that determination?
That's a very good question, Commissioner Cope. Those high demand programs would typically be our STEM programs and any program that has a demonstrated workforce needs, and we will be utilizing THEC data to define that.
Thank you. Other questions for Betty? Okay, hearing none, I'm happy to entertain a motion to adopt the expedited academic program.
So moved. Stafford.
Okay, Commissioner Stafford with the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Dishner. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope,
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Moser,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Watson,
Aye.
Commissioner Winton,
Aye.
Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson,
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes and 0 nays.
Very good. The motion is carried and the policy is adopted. Thanks very much, Betty, for the presentation. The next item on our agenda is post-approval monitoring report, and I'll call on Dr. Corey Giesling to make the presentation, please.
Good morning, Commissioners, Executive Director Kraus. My name is Corey Giesling, and I am pleased to present to you the 2019-2020 Post-Approval Monitoring Report on behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Success Bureau. Post-approval monitoring is included in the new academic program proposal policy. Approved programs by the Tennessee Board of Regents and the Commission undergo years of standard monitoring as designated by their degree level. Pre-baccalaureate programs are monitored for 3 years, baccalaureate and master's programs are monitored for 5 years, and doctoral programs are monitored for 7 years. These programs are evaluated through 2 main criteria. First, evaluation is based on enrollment and graduation numbers as defined by the program during their approval process. THEC expects these programs to achieve at least 80% of their enrollment and graduate projections. The second evaluation criteria are THEC minimums for enrollment and graduation productivity, which is determined by degree level. We expect pre-baccalaureate and baccalaureate programs to produce 10 graduates a year, 5 graduates a year for master's programs, and 3 graduates a year for doctoral programs. These 2 criteria are important to account for the nuances in programs. For example, THEC expects bachelor's programs to produce at least 10 students a year, but the program may be designed and project for 30 graduates per year. If this program only graduates 20 students, then technically they will be below their projection expectations, but they are above their THEC productivity threshold. Failure to meet these thresholds may negatively impact a program and the institution's finances. To that end, we do ask that programs report on one-time recurring and their revenue generation every single year. Programs are asked to provide narratives if they do not attain these projections, enrollment, graduation, and financial, and what steps they are being taken to improve these programs. These reports allow for detailed understandings of the programs and the basis for the institutional reports that are included in this year's PAM report. Should programs not achieve their benchmarks during their standard monitoring cycles, THEC requests program productivity plans that provide detailed remediation plans and extends their monitoring for up to an additional 3 years. If a program is successful in attaining their benchmarks at the end of their standard or their extended monitoring cycle, they will complete their monitoring and they will begin evaluation through the state's quality assurance funding program. This year, THEC implemented 2 structural changes to post-approval monitoring. First, we moved this annual report from the winter to the summer. Second, we began incorporating status reports for recently approved academic programs to get an update on the implementation of these programs. This new timeline allowed us to receive more relevant information, including the most recent graduate numbers from May 2020, to be included in this report, as well as up-to-date reports regarding these new academic programs. These status reports in particular help to illustrate the ingenuity our campuses are displaying in response to the challenges presented by COVID-19. One such example was at Austin Peay. The faculty hiring cycle for the Master's in Speech Language Pathology program was impacted by COVID. However, the program was able to respond by adjusting administrative duties around the hiring that they were able to achieve, and so that this new program is still on track for successful implementation in the fall of 2021. In sum, we do believe that these changes in the information provided by our campuses allowed for a more comprehensive report to the Commission regarding the health of our new programs. Of the 77 programs in post-approval monitoring, half of them are at the Tennessee Board of Regents. Pre-baccalaureate programs are expected to graduate at least 10 students at the end of their 3-year monitoring cycle. Of the 38 programs in monitoring, 63% are achieving their enrollment benchmarks. Only 22% are achieving both enrollment and graduate benchmarks. One program, the Fire Science Program at Southwest, has been terminated by TBR. 4 programs did complete their monitoring, while 12 programs are currently in extended monitoring. Of the programs in extended monitoring, a few have been in this extended monitoring for numerous years, and that is listed on the column on the right. And these include fine arts programs and paramedic programs on multiple campuses. There are many reasons for this. One includes prerequisite, some are transfer opportunities, and others are lack of employment opportunities or licensure needs. THEC has been in communication with the Tennessee Board of Regents regarding the need for improvement in these programs. The other half of programs in post-approval monitoring are at Tennessee universities. Bachelor's and master's programs are monitored for 5 years. Bachelor's programs are expected for 10 graduates and master's programs for 5. Doctoral programs are monitored for 7 years, and they are expected to produce 3 grads a year. Overall, university programs are vibrant. 94% are achieving their enrollment benchmarks, and 64% are achieving both their enrollment and graduate benchmarks. 3 programs that were struggling, all master's degree programs, were terminated by their institutions. This is a testament to the quality of the work that's going in on the program design phase at our universities, and our universities should be commended for their efforts. All programs that were expected to exit monitoring this year were successful and completed their monitoring cycles. One program, the Professional Science Master's Program at Tennessee Tech, remains in extended monitoring for an additional year to ensure that their graduate rates show greater consistency at meeting the 5 grad a year threshold. 2 programs currently in their standard monitoring cycles are being closely monitored by THEC staff. The joint engineering program between Tennessee Tech and East Tennessee State has had difficulties in their implementation. While both institutions contribute to this program, greater alignment is needed for a successful accreditation process, which is to begin in 2021. Particular work is needed on greater curricular alignment and access to courses. THEC staff continues to work with both institutions. At the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, the master's program for United States Business Law continues to show minimal student interest. Designed in part for international students wishing to better understand business law in the United States, the program was delayed by legal proceedings in the Tennessee Supreme Court around the eligibility for international students to sit for the Tennessee bar. While this issue has since been resolved, recent policies restricting international students and travel restrictions due to COVID-19 has put further limitations on this program. However, this program does have minimal overhead, as all courses and faculty are already offered at the law school and are part of the curriculum in other programs. The program has indicated that the law school faculty will be looking at this program to see how it can be improved. Overall, 2019-2020 was a strong year for programs in post-approval monitoring, with enrollment up across all sectors. Our institutions have shown great flexibility and tremendous ingenuity in responding to COVID-19, and the flexible interventions that were given in this report are really wonderful to read and give you a lot of confidence in our higher ed sector. Realistic enrollment and graduation projections are critical to successful implementation. And what we do see with our programs is that when they align the strengths of their institution and their community partners with what market needs are needed in their communities, that is what makes desirable programs for students that they wish to enroll and have strong enrollment and graduation success. Lastly, the new post-approval monitoring timeline is efficient, and we will further strengthen it in 2020-2021 through greater narration by each program and monitoring, so that we can make sure that everybody is doing well and contributing to the needs of the state. With that, I conclude this presentation, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Corey. I think Director Krause has a comment.
Yes, sir. I just want to bring it back home for the commission for a moment. This is probably the best post-approval monitoring report I've seen, and I actually used to work on this myself several years ago. That is a credit to a couple different parties. One, Betty and Corey and Julie, who are in a constant dialogue with campuses. 2, this commission, who's made very clear that new program proposals are going to be significantly discussed before any approval. I think the campuses have seen that. And then 3, the systems in the campuses. I think the new programs being sent in an outcomes-based funding environment, it's to nobody's benefit to have an underperforming program. And the systems and campuses know that. So they're very thoughtful about this. I want to talk just for a moment about those associate degree programs you saw. First off, we have a constant weekly, if not daily dialogue with the Board of Regents. Dr. Hamilton, the Chief Academic Officer there, is in a constant discussion with Betty, and Flora and I talk multiple times a week about an array of issues. These programs we've discussed with them directly. I want to share what I heard from them that I took great solace in, some of which we knew intuitively. First and foremost, many of the low-producing programs that we see on here, those are programs where the faculty are actually already assigned to another discipline. So for instance, let's talk about the Associate in Fine Arts. I learned and confirmed with Chancellor Tidings yesterday. Those faculty have to be there because they teach the core curriculum required for general education. So having that degree on the books doesn't have any additional cost to the campus or students. I thought that was a great point, and I wanted to make sure that the commission was aware of that. The other thing also is where there are programs that need to be terminated, TBR is looking at that, LGIs are looking at that, and UT is looking at that. I remain convinced, and you all have heard me say before, this commission and our agency doesn't need to be in the termination business, and I believe that. I think that that is a decision that the campuses know. They know that intuitively. This report, though, is a highlighter, and it highlights some programs we need to focus on. The UT Law program that was just mentioned, that's an ongoing discussion. And I will tell you that the joint engineering program between ETSU and TTU, Betty is personally leading a dialogue about how we get that program to a productive space. But Chairman Cope, you'll remember 4 or 5 years ago, this report was a 30-program list. The campuses have totally changed the discussion around that. And I just want to reassure the commission while also providing tribute to some good work that's being done. Some programs on this list need work, without question. But I think we're in a better place than we have ever been where campuses are assessing that, and the progress on this report reflects it.
Thank you, Mike. And this question is for Mike or Betty or Corey. Can you think, if we think out loud about it, is there anything that we could do that we're not doing that might better incentivize campuses with respect to the productivity of these programs, or do y'all think that the incentives, like Mike mentioned at the beginning, it doesn't benefit the campuses to have an unsuccessful program, but is there anything we could do that would improve or increase the incentive to see that these programs that are struggling do better?
Let me start with Dr. Diesling or Betty, their thoughts, because they're the true experts there.
Yes, thank you, Mike. I think one lesson that I have taken from looking through these is that our campuses that engage in a thorough feasibility analysis prior to launching the program development phase, they tend to be really strong. They find out that they have a market need, that they have available students that are willing to do this program, and they make sure that they align their campus support structures in place so that students graduate in a timely manner. I think the expedited report that Betty mentioned or that the commission voted on earlier is going to be huge. I think we have available resources that show what areas the state needs to produce more graduates in and what we need more programs in. And I think to our credit across all sectors, they are putting programs there. We're getting more IT data analysis programs. We're doing the different things that the market needs and the state needs. In next year's report, we are going to strengthen our narrative side of it so that we will make sure that we have every institution provide a positive and area for improvement that they're putting in, so that we will continue this kind of ongoing improvement that we will see from every institution.
Thank you, Corey. Betty, did you have anything to add or?
No.
Okay, great. Well, thanks very much for the report, Corey, and for the comments. The floor is open, obviously, for any other questions or comments.
Chairman Cope, I've got a couple of questions and then a comment.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Giesling, thank you so much for the presentation. And I think as Betty and maybe other members of the staff know, I'm a supporter of the post-approval monitoring process as a auditor and former regulator. I believe very much in the importance of monitoring what we say we're going to do. So some questions I have, and then I'll close with a comment. When it comes to the years for monitoring, how do we determine what the year should be, say, for the pre-baccalaureate or the post-baccalaureate years of monitoring? How do we determine 3, 5, or 7 years are the right years? Do we benchmark that? What makes that determination? And then in conjunction with that, when we determine that a institution is not yet ready to emerge and exit the monitoring process, what do we do to determine the maximum number of extensions we will provide, or do we have a maximum?
Okay, Commissioner Stafford, this is Betty.
Yes,
As it relates to the length of time, that really depends upon the length of for example, the associate degree program. We expect students to complete a 2-year program, but they are provided an extra year for completion. And that's the same for the baccalaureate programs. That is a four-year program, and we provide an additional year. And then for the doctoral programs, that was also 5 years along with the master's programs. But at one of the commission meetings, that was requested to extend that from a 5-year monitoring to a 7-year period, given the length of time that it takes doctoral students to complete the program.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. And then
Commissioner Stafford,
yes, go ahead, Dr. Giesing.
No, I was just going to add that those years also align with the, as the program is going through the new academic program proposal process, those are what the projections for their enrollment, graduate, as well as financial projections are for. So those years align with that.
Okay. Terrific. Thank you.
Oh, Commissioner.
And then just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, sir, go ahead.
In terms of my comment, I was just going to say, Mike, you answered a number of the questions that I had with regard to the possible use of state funds and whether we are being as efficient as we can. I do think it's important that we make sure as we monitor this that we're at least aware of how the use of funds by the institution may be better used, or how we can make sure that we gain efficiencies as we are trying to provide the best programs to our students and to the population at large. So, Mike, your comments helped me at least better understand that, and it sounds like there's a concerted effort to try to make sure that we are doing everything we can to get these programs to the point that they should be, while at the same time monitoring the cost to the state.
I think one of the big reassurances I take, if the commission thinks about the cost structure and the state funds that flow through campuses, there's no doubt our most risky programs are graduate programs, because you are engaged with faculty that are more expensive, and you're engaging often with graduate stipends to get the students to enroll in the first place. So when this report comes to me, Commissioner, I start with, are we in trouble with any doctoral programs? Because those are the ones that are high stakes, in my opinion, from a cost perspective. As you all seen, this is a really good report for graduate programs. On bachelor programs, to your comment about what would be the maximum number of renewals, I think is a really good point. What we try to do as soon as we see that red warning light flashing, hey, you are in a bachelor's degree program and you are not meeting your projections, let's say 3 to 4, year 3 and 4, year 1 and 2, you're getting started. If that's happening in year 3 and 4, I think I should do a better job of sharing with the commission the pre-work that goes into this report. I'm aware of it because I walk by the conference room and see Betty in there with the provost, right? Or in our current world, Betty on a Zoom with the provost. That's when there's a little bit of a technical assistance aspect kicks in. And I'm thinking of one particular program where I think Betty, to her credit, realized the phone calls weren't going to get it done. We needed to bring everybody into Nashville. we needed to walk through the mechanics. Why aren't we meeting our benchmarks? And I have found that is our most effective tool in the toolkit. Because remember, at any given time, Betty, I want to say we have 26 new programs in our pipeline right now.
That's correct.
So we have 26 new academic programs in our pipeline. A campus might have 2, right? Tops, or 4 tops. So as a result, Betty, Dr. Roberts, and Corey, they've seen most flavors of what's going to go wrong with the degree program. And that is why I do typically counsel legislators that want to give us termination authority. I don't think that's our best play. I think our best play is technical assistance. And yes, when it comes time, there is a space for myself or Betty or, in its extreme, this commission to convey to a president, it's time on this program in a written format. We haven't had to do that, though, largely because I think the academic affairs shop at this agency views itself as advisors rather than, there is a compliance component for sure, but I think we try to approach it from a counseling and advising perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Krause. Director Krause, I appreciate it. One last point I'd like to make, Chairman Copen. As I look at Table 4, and that's obviously the table that probably is most concerning to us, and look at the overall content, a couple of themes kind of ring out to me. I see a number of fine arts and medical-related type majors that seem to be struggling. And then I see a number of institutions whose name appears more frequently. I don't know if there's anything that we can glean from that information, whether there is something that can be used to try to help these programs get through these challenges that they're dealing with. What I noted as I looked at the notes, many of them are getting the enrollment, but they're not getting the graduates. And so there still seems to be obviously a struggle in those students being able to graduate from the programs, but it seems to be more acute to these fine arts and medical programs, and I don't know what's causing that. So that's one comment. And then to your point, your comment or your question earlier, I agree that we should be looking at sort of best practices, but I also ask, are we sharing what's working at other institutions with those that may be struggling, so that information can be utilized and hopefully taken advantage of?
Those are great questions. Mike, do you want to?
I want to say to that last point, Commissioner Stafford, first off, then at our next provost convening, we convene the provost twice a year. Now, of course, we'll be doing it virtually. That is absolutely a discussion that has been on the agenda, but let us endeavor to make it a very specific point, post-approval monitoring, lessons learned. And Betty and Dr. Giesling, if y'all will mark that down, that convening happens in November in conjunction with the THEC meeting. That's a great point on your end. As far as when I look at Table 4, most of what I'm seeing when I see enrollment that doesn't translate to graduation is remembering the large amount of our community college students that transfer. And Dr. Hamilton, in her discussions with Betty, is doing a one-on-one with these provosts about the status of their program. So an IOU back to the commission is going to be the question, and we should be able to ascertain with certainty of the students that enrolled, how many transferred, and is that a possible explanation between what feels like a little bit of a leaky pipeline between enrollment and graduation? Would that work?
That would indeed. That's a great point. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
We're on it. We'll do it.
Very good.
And again, just re-emphasizing, great report, great information. Thank you again.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Stafford. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the floor is open. I'm so sorry. Did someone want to make a comment?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Hassler.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for either Executive Director Krause or Mr. Corey or Ms. Betty. I was wondering, so for some of these programs that might be struggling due to COVID, an example of this would be ETSU's sports science and coach education. They cited that graduation rates have fallen due to not being able to complete internships. Are these programs standards going to be given leeway due to this? or?
No, great question, Commissioner. Go ahead, Dr. Giesling.
I would say that one of the reasons behind this report is so that we could get the nuances of what's happening on the ground. What we hope is, what I saw from this year's report is that our institution showed a lot of ingenuity in figuring out how we should do clinical placements, we should do whatever is needed for that program to find success, and while also meeting various accreditation needs or different things like that. What I believe we are hoping as a staff is that our institutions use this spring and this summer to build the capacities of those programs so that they can make sure that they continue to work for those students, because those job needs are still going to be there. But obviously, should these issues persist into subsequent years of monitoring, we will make sure that we keep in mind the current geopolitical situation and also be in constant communication with those campuses.
Thank you.
The good news too, Commissioner Hassler, is that because the numbers are year by year, we'll be able to ascertain immediately whether or not everything was looking good and then COVID hit. The big picture question you asked that I think is important, it ultimately won't be one for THEC, it'll be one for the accrediting bodies, especially the disciplinary accreditors, right? So what is the American Association of Colleges of Nursing going to do? What is the American Association around Physical Therapy going to do? Because they know, especially you mentioned sports medicine, the ability to deliver some of those clinicals has been hindered. So that's something we're going to have to wait and see, that I think ends up being one of the myriad third order effects of this pandemic. But I appreciate you raising the issue. What we can commit, though, is this time next year, we'll be able to tell with certainty, hey, that program's graduates were hindered because they were stuck in the clinical pipeline. Obviously, though, I think our fear from a completion perspective is students being stuck in a clinical pipeline when they could be graduating and earning a wage.
Great question, and thank you, Mike, for the response, and thank you, Corey. Any further questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve the post-approval monitoring report.
Move approval.
Okay, I'm sorry, that was Commissioner Dishner with the motion to approve.
We do not need to approve.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, this is not something we need any action on. It's just a report. No, that's okay. Thanks very much. All right. Next, we'll move on to new academic programs. We have 4 new academic programs for the Commission to consider this morning, and I'll ask Dr. Julie Roberts, THEC's Associate Chief Academic Officer, to give us a brief overview and to introduce our first speaker. Dr. Roberts?
Thank you, Chairman Cope, and good morning, everyone. What a great segue for our campus partners to present on their new academic programs. We do have 4 presentations today. Our first presentation will be by Dr. Chandra Reddy, who's the Dean of the College of Agriculture at Tennessee State University, and he will be providing an overview for their proposed Master of Science in Environmental Science. Then we'll hear from Provost Lori Bruce from Tennessee Tech to discuss their proposed Master of Science in Community Health. Then Provost Thomas Neenan from University of Memphis, who will provide an overview of their Master of Science in Data Science. Lots of science today. And then last but not least, we'll hear from Provost John Zomchik from UT Knoxville, who will present on the proposed Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education. And with that, I'm delighted to turn this over to Dr. Reddy from TSU.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. Thank you, members of the Commission. And I also want to particularly thank President Glenda Glover and our Provost Harris for their enthusiastic support to our proposal, and our Board of Trustees who approved this program. So I'm presenting to you the Master of Science program in Environmental Science. This program would be offered by the Department of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. That's part of the College of Agriculture at Tennessee State University. As a dean, I just want to give you an idea about the College of Agriculture. The college has very unique with its land grant mission and programs in teaching, research, and outreach. And we have 3 experimental stations across the mid-state, and 35 state-of-the-art research laboratories on the campus for graduate students in this program to conduct research. We also have a statewide network of outreach programs in 51 of the 95 counties with our own personnel, where our faculty and graduate students can get some reality check and define some problems the state needs and develop the solutions so that we can transfer technologies to the public. This is not moving. Whether it's not getting to the next slide.
The gray toolbar on the left.
Yeah. Okay. This program is very unique. It is the first of its kind in the state. And we kind of apply, this program applies the environmental principles to the agri-forestry industrial complex. The agriculture and forestry makes up about 12% of the Tennessee economy, and it's about $80 billion worth. And then we also, the forestry and agriculture employs about 10% of the workforce in the state, which is about 340,000 employees. Also, to give you one more statistic, the agricultural operations in the state takes up about 40% of the state's land. So the program addresses, and the students in this program will be able to learn to intensify sustainable agricultural production, and then also learn to measure, develop the strategies and the tools to mitigate, to adapt to the environmental changes and the climate changes we're all experiencing right now. And the program will be administered through 3 focus areas. That's the plant sciences, natural resources, and geospatial sciences. And I just want to give you one more reason why we need to have this program. And we are all dealing with the pandemic, and that is very much connected to the environmental issues and the wildlife. And so a good environment, or a healthy environment, is definitely needed for healthy society, healthy people, healthy animals. And I'll quote you the Secretary of Agriculture, Sunny Perdue, who has recently put a national goal that for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the goal for the next 2 decades is to increase the agricultural production by 40%, but importantly, to decrease the environmental footprint by 50%. That's an awesome goal, and that cuts across the political spectrum. You can see that this administration putting out that goal. So the students in this program we're proposing will be able to address some of those challenges and will have needed training to help the nation and the state. The program definitely addresses the THEC master plan and supports the institutional mission. It aligns with those 2. Because we're developing this program as a unique environmental sciences program for the state and also for the region here. And some of the unique features of this program, not only we are adding new graduates into the workforce, it will also be addressing some of the challenges, the grand challenges in the environmental area by developing research-based education. Our students, we're hoping to have 25 graduate students who will be working with 22 faculty members specializing with PhD level scientists. And so between the students and the faculty, will have about 50 of them working towards the environmental issues in the state. The other unique nature of this program with us is we'll be focused on Diversity will be recruiting minority graduate students with a particular emphasis. And as I said, it would be research-based, and engaging in the community engagement would be part of it. And we also collaborate with a number of statewide, state and federal level agencies, for-profit and non-profit organizations across the country. To give you an example, we have an MOU with UT to work on these issues, and we work with all of the county governments in the state. We work with several of the state agencies and several of the federal agencies like USDA, NSF, EPA, NIH, NASA, and a number of other organizations. The program demand, as presented in the slide, the Bureau of Labor Statistics expects 11% growth for the period of 2016 to 26. That's much more than the average growth expected in the country for all other disciplines, which is about 7%. The expected growth within Tennessee, the demand is about 15%. One of the important parts, which is, I don't know if you can see it well, the highlighted part of it here in red line, red ink, is the African Americans in the environmental discipline across the country in the workforce represent at this point less than 5%. And that is really not acceptable. And this program would try to correct, at least to a small extent, that particular problem. We also have done the feasibility studies with not only within TSU, but in the marketplace with several schools in Tennessee, in Nashville area. And 87% of the respondents showed interest and to enroll in this program. So that's very supportive of our request. So our enrollment goals are initially to start the program with 14 students. We reduced the number of students because of the pandemic we're experiencing. And we slowly want to build it to 25 students by year 2 and graduate half of them on an ongoing basis. We're very confident that we can graduate, we can recruit these students because we have some experience with one of the concentrations in this program. We're already graduating about 9 students. And so in this repackaged program, we will be able to reach that 12 students goal. So the last part of this presentation is about finances. How do we fund this program? The main expenditures for the program, as Director Krause was talking about, is the graduate student support. Going into the year 2, it's exceeding $500,000. But in terms of the faculty, since we offer already many of the courses required, there is a marginal cost of about $70,000 new courses that we require for this program. But on the revenue side, we will be utilizing the federal dollars to support the graduate student support, their supplies, their assistantships, their travel, and all of that. So the program gets support from the federal dollars, and the students will be contributing to the university in the form of tuition and fee. So at the net, the university will be gaining. The university will actually be gaining about $200,000 per year starting year 3. So this is a very revenue positive for the university, this particular program, because we are supported by federal grant funding to support this program. Thank you, Commissioners. That is my brief presentation. And if you have any questions, I can respond to those.
Any questions?
Chairman Cope, I have a question. This is Pam
Yes, ma'am.
Coben. Dr. Reddy, looking at your enrollment and grade figures and then your budget, it appears that most of your enrollment will be your graduate assistants over the course of the 5 years we need to look at this. And you will be able to pay them through federal grants. Are you already assured that you have the Department of Agriculture grants? You will receive them? Is there any assurance of that?
Yes. As a land grant university, we get regular funding from the federal government, from the USDA. We also get the funding from the state of Tennessee. Those funds would be utilized for this program. And you are right. Right now, we are projecting students who require a research assistant. And it is very much possible that, I know Provost Harris and I had a conversation earlier today, that we can extend this program for a lot of government employees who may need an environmental training on a part-time basis, on a non-fees basis. So eventually the program may have more graduates, more enrollment, but at this time, we want to make sure that guaranteeing financial support and the number of graduates we can definitely support and graduate.
And Dr. Reddy, may I ask you this too? It requires one additional faculty member, so you're going to be utilizing some 22 faculty members from other disciplines that are related. You're going to be fully 24 graduate assistants. Is this one program supplying graduate assistants for all the rest of your faculty and these other disciplines? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, yes, we hope to have one graduate assistant for each faculty member. And then also let me give you some other information. The graduate program in this particular department, which is the Department of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, used to have about 10 students 10 years ago. Today we have more than 100 students. We have built that capacity both with funding and hiring more faculty. And so the department has about 50 PhDs and substantially increased our funding. And so, yes, we can support it. I don't know if I got answer properly for your question.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Coben. Any other questions for Dr. Reddy? Okay, hearing none, the floor is open, and I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve this program.
So moved, Vernon Stafford.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Stafford with the motion. Is there a second?
A second. Commissioner Hassler.
Okay, Commissioner Hassler with the second. Thank you very much. Having a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Coe?
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner? Aye. Commissioner Coben?
Aye.
Commissioner Moser?
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson?
Aye.
Commissioner Winton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson?
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard?
Aye.
Was that an aye, Treasurer Lillard?
Yes, ma'am, it was aye.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Hassler?
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you very much. The motion is carried and the program is approved. Congratulations, Dr. Reddy. Next up is the Tennessee THEC Community Health and Nutrition Master's in Science program, Dr. Lori Bruce, will make the presentation. Dr. Bruce, you are recognized.
Thank you. I want to start by saying thank you to the THEC commissioners for considering this proposal today. And I want to thank the THEC staff, in particular Betty, Julie, and Corey, for their assistance and support in the preparation of this proposal. This new degree program for which approval is being sought today is a Master of Science degree in Community Health and Nutrition. The program will be led by faculty in Tennessee Tech's Department of Human Ecology. Those faculty led by Dr. Melinda Anderson are the ones that put in the predominant work to prepare this proposal. The purpose of this degree program is to provide advanced content knowledge in rural community health for credentialed nutrition and dietetics professionals. The two primary target audiences for this online master's degree program are, one, working professionals who desire to complete a graduate degree in community health and nutrition, and then individuals who desire to complete requirements to become a registered dietitian. There is a national shortage of registered dietitian programs that prepare people to sit for that credentialing exam, and the proposed program will help meet this need for more registered dietitian programs. So next, I'd like to address accreditation. The accrediting agency for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is the professional organization for registered dietitians. This accrediting agency is the Accreditation Council for Education in Nutrition and Dietetics, which is commonly referred to as ASCEND. I'll say ASCEND throughout the rest of the presentation. In 2019, ASCEND released new standards that programs must meet in order to achieve or maintain accreditation. And these standards are called the Future Education Model. That was in 2019. Also in 2019, the School of Human Ecology at Tennessee Tech was selected by ASCEND to serve as a demonstration program for these new accreditation standards. So if the proposed program is approved, it would be one of the first in the nation to provide an FEM pathway that leads to the graduate degree and the experiential learning needed to sit for the credentialing exam to be a registered dietitian. The proposed program aligns well with the state master plan and Tennessee Tech's university's mission. The program will prepare graduates to address the health and nutrition needs of rural communities, and it will advance the application of scientific research for improved community programming in rural health. There is a national shortage for RD programs, and currently there is no other graduate dietetic program in Tennessee that focuses on rural health. The proposed academic program also aligns well with Tennessee Tech's mission. Our mission is to serve as a STEM-infused comprehensive institution that creates, advances, and applies knowledge to expand opportunity and economic competitiveness, and to be known for our career-ready graduates. This particular program ticks all of those boxes. And since this particular program has an emphasis on rural community health, it greatly aligns with the university's Grand Challenge. We have a university-wide Grand Challenge that's called Rural Reimagined. It's a collection of academic programs, extracurricular activities, service-based learning, and projects that the students engage in, all aimed at Rural Reimagined. The master's program will provide content in rural health, including geriatric nutrition, to meet the challenges of obesity, diabetes, and hypertension. So this is especially important for our rural communities, as Tennessee ranks 6th among all states in per capita rate of diabetes. So a bit more in relation to the need for this program. In recent years, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, again, that's the professional organization for registered dietitians, made the decision to start requiring a master's degree to sit for the registered dietitian national credentialing exam. Previously, it only required a bachelor's degree. So this requirement for a master's degree will go in effect in 2024. And as a result, in the coming years, there will be a significant increased demand, both in Tennessee and nationally, for master's programs in disciplines related to nutrition and dietetics. In preparation for this proposal, Tennessee Tech conducted a comprehensive feasibility study. As a part of that feasibility study, we included a survey of current students and alumni working in the fields related to dietetics and nutrition. More than 50% of the respondents stated that they were interested in enrolling in the degree as soon as it was available. The feasibility study also included a comprehensive assessment of industry standards, salaries, and employment rates. And results of that study showed that completion of this program is very highly likely to increase salaries and enhance employability of the graduates. As I'm sure you know, as a part of the review of an academic program proposal, THEC utilizes external evaluators and external reviewers. They come to our campus, they review, they interview faculty, they interview students, they do a comprehensive assessment of the proposed program. THEC's external reviewer for this program was Dr. Gina Pizzaglia from Penn State. She stated in her written assessment, quote, the Master of Science in Community Health and Nutrition will fill a gap in nutrition and health care for rural communities. This emphasis creates a unique niche that makes the program appealing, distinct, and marketable in the current health system environment. She went on to state that, quote, educating more health professionals with expertise in rural health, community education, community program planning, and geriatrics to meet the high demand for care of this population fulfills a state and national need. Based on the feasibility study provided in the proposal and her own comprehensive review of other nutrition graduate programs and internship programs in Tennessee, the Tennessee Tech program will fill a gap in state healthcare delivery system and provide students with the knowledge and skills to give back in service to many rural Tennesseans. So this next slide shows a 5-year projection of enrolled students, and I'm showing them here both as a head count and as a full-time equivalent. We anticipate that this program will enroll a number of working professionals who have indicated via the feasibility study that they will likely enroll as part-time students, and that's why you will see a discrepancy between head count and full-time equivalent. This table differs slightly from the head count and the enrollment projections that were in the original new academic program proposal documents. And the reason for this is that we worked with THEC to assess the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on our projected enrollments. So this table shows the updated enrollment numbers. We also assume a pretty high attrition rate compared to many of our master's programs. We assume a 10% attrition rate each year, partly because they will be predominantly part-time students and working professionals. And then finally, this last slide provides information pertaining to the direct costs and revenues of the proposed program. The plot of the costs, which is the blue line, includes direct instructional costs, including salaries for 1 additional faculty member and 1 staff member, as well as equipment and operating budgets. There are 2 plots here, 2 lines here for the tuition and fees. The green plot is for the original enrollment projections, and then the gray line is for the revised enrollment projections that we have revised because of the anticipated impact of the pandemic on those enrollments. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are we frozen, Mr. Chairman?
All right, I'm so sorry. We may be frozen. Can everyone hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. Are any questions for Dr. Bruce? Okay, Hearing none, then the floor is open, and I will entertain a motion to approve the program.
Mrs. Copeland.
Okay, I think I heard Commissioner Dishner make a motion to approve. Is that right? Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Coben. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope,
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Moser,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Watson,
Aye.
Commissioner Witten,
Aye.
Secretary Hargett, Comptroller Wilson, Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 10 ayes, 0 nays.
Very good. The motion is carried and the program is approved. Congratulations, Dr. Bruce. Next item on the agenda is the academic program Data Science Masters in Science from the University of Memphis. We'll hear a presentation from Dr. Thomas Nennan. Dr. Nennan, you are recognized. I believe your microphone is muted.
Okay. All right.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners, for entertaining this important program. Again, thanks to Betty Dandridge and to her staff for the help in preparation. I'd like to emphasize or reiterate the comments made earlier by Mike about how helpful the process is. It's aligned with what Tennessee wants to see, workforce need and demand, and you'll see that this project fits in very well. I'm accompanied today by Dr. David Kimmey, Chair of Excellence in Economics, and Dr. Vasily Rus, who has a joint appointment as a professor in our Institute of Intelligent Systems and in computer science, both excellent researchers who took the time to develop this program that's so important for us and we believe for our community in Tennessee. This is an interdisciplinary program in data science that pulls together existing resources from across our campus. We have excellence in computer science and in data, in applied statistics and math, but as you see, it lists just a few of the areas where we have data science emphases across the university: biology, economics, public health, government policies, logistics, transportation information, and a whole range of other things from data, from digital to humanities to all of the natural sciences, of course. In a sense, what we've tried to do is use this program, instead of being specialized within a department, to integrate these various researchers, because what we believe is that there is no such thing as simply computer science anymore, where you're going to have data science. Data science touches every field of academic enterprise and every business in our community. And so that's why we wanted to bring together this as an interdisciplinary enterprise, so that we have students who graduate from this and can work in industries across a whole range of fields. As we said, again, it has a 33-hour curriculum. It can be completed in 2 years. For full-time students, we anticipate that it's going to have a number of working professionals who will go to school half-time. We'll complete this within about 4 years, or maybe if they go in the summer, in about 3 years. It relies on existing courses and faculty, so when you get to the budget, you'll see that it involves minimal extra costs. We believe that one of the big advantages is, again, that through the collaboration in this academic program, this will bring these researchers even closer together, and we learned that this is going to be very helpful in advancing their own research agenda and in integrating this kind of information across all of our departments and colleges. It aligns because this places This is an area with high skilled, high demand, and high salaried positions that really help increase the industries in our region, in our state, and will increase the capacity there. It will significantly increase the research capacities of the businesses in our area. And of course, it also has the help of, as we're very close to becoming an R1 doctoral, very high research university, having a program like this will help to sustain that over the coming years. The feasibility study showed that there was universal, broad and enthusiastic support. Every business, every governmental, every nonprofit agency says they need more students who are highly qualified in these areas. The fact that they are so needed is reflected, for instance, in the fact that right now, if you'll take a look at the curve, this is, we all recently have learned what exponential growth means. This is clearly a case of exponential growth in a positive way. And you can see that one indication of how strongly in demand these are is that Glassdoor indicates an average salary, starting salary for data scientists in the Memphis area of $112,000. Just for an indication of the expertise that's already there at our university to support this, that we think this is going to help. Right now, there are external fundings, and actually the slide is a little old. Just since this slide has been done, we can say that the new number is about $30 million in external grants from prestigious areas like the National Science Foundation, National Institute of Health, and the Department of Defense. It supports various research clusters. I'm not going to walk you through all of those that are at our university. And this has already become a center of activity through national conferences in which industry, academics, and other practitioners come together. We'll take a look at the enrollment projections. We thank the Commission for allowing us to advertise this in advance. We know that if this is approved this afternoon, that tomorrow we'll be well on our way to having the first students admitted and enrolled in the courses for this fall already. We might be a little below the 44 because we're getting near August, but by next year we will certainly be at these numbers. You can see that if you look, that there's significant tuition. We're anticipating that almost all of these students will be tuition-paying students. We have projected that it will be able to support through these finances some graduate assistance, and these are again areas with lots of external support. So we would expect that we would over time have about 10 graduate assistants that would be externally sponsored. As far as additional personnel, we basically are going to have a full-time director who would have a half-time administrative assistant, a little bit of tech support. And so this is a very low additional cost, very significant revenue, a great addition to workforce development in our area, and a great professional opportunity for our students. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much for the presentation. Any questions or comments?
Dr. Nevin, this is Pam Coben. I just had a question about your enrollment projections. For example, 44 for this coming academic year. You've already been advertising, and I assume you have received applications, so you have a pretty good feel for what that number is going to be. Is that correct?
Yeah, the interest is overwhelming. I think that 44, what we've done is we've tried to stay consistent with what was in the proposal originally. In the meantime, probably 2021, that number will be a little lower, although it's going to be very significant. But I wouldn't be sure it's 44 at this point, but I'm very sure that by 21, 22, that the 66 is actually probably a conservative number.
You think it could triple in 1 year, your enrollment?
Yes. Another thing, we have overwhelming interest from international students. We probably, when this was done, We were not aware that we were going to have the difficulties bringing in those students, but we do hope that over the next year that both from the terms of COVID and also from the insights into the value that these bring in outstanding students from around the world with these technical skills and interests who typically do enter our industries and support our industries. Based on that, we're pretty sure that these are probably relatively conservative estimates.
That's pretty impressive. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Commissioner Coben. Any other questions or comments?
Chairman Coben? One curiosity question, if I could please. With a master's degree program, often there is a culminating project, could be a thesis or that sort of thing, which I'm sure is not appropriate for this program. But I was interested if students do a culminating project that might, in fact, lead to a project that could be of service to the organization.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble acoustically following.
Oh, I apologize. Just wondering about culminating projects. As the students are completing the program, do they do a culminating project?
I was still having trouble. Maybe someone whose microphone is working better can help me understand the question.
It's fine, Chairman, but we'll just pass on the question. It's fine.
My understanding of the question from Dr. Dishner was relative to master's programs that typically have some culminating experience or project. Is that correct, Dr. Dishner? And how would that fit within this
Dr. Ruth,
program,
could
Dr.
you
Dishner?
answer that question for me, please? Can we bring in Dr. Roos? Or Dr. Timmy? They're both on the call.
Yes, this is Vasila Rus. Yes, so the program requires 33 credit hours, 10 regular courses, and one paid project, a 3 credit hour project for graduation. Those are the requirements.
So yes, there is a culminating project.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Dishner, did you have anything else?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Commissioner Winton, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Cope. I had a question in regards to specifically for COVID-19, or how much of this class will be able to be held online. Are you going to make any adjustments for that, or what's the plan for the immediate within this next month?
Initially, we had planned to begin it on ground and then phase in the online. That's changed dramatically, and so students will be able to participate in this program completely remotely if they choose to do so.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve the program.
This is Trey Hargan. I move to approve.
Mr. Secretary, thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Second is David Lillard.
I'm sorry, who made the second?
both.
David Lillard.
Treasurer Lillard with the second. We have a motion from Secretary Hargett, second from Treasurer Lillard. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Coe?
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner? Aye. Commissioner Coben?
Aye.
Commissioner Moser? Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson?
Aye.
Commissioner Winton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson?
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard?
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler?
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you very much. The motion is carried and the program is approved. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is a Bachelor of Science program in elementary education from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. This will be presented by Dr. Tom Zomchik. Dr. Zomchik, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here this morning in my new capacity to present this program to you, and especially to present it to an exceptional agency. Congratulations on the award. I have really enjoyed working with THEC over the course of my career, and a special shout out to Betty Dandridge and her team for helping us in so many ways over the years. What I'm presenting to you today is in the guise of a new program, but in effect, what you're seeing here is I guess the word is a conversion of a program. We have had a minor in elementary education over the course of the years, and we are proposing today to turn it into a major in elementary education. You see here that under this program, a student can declare a major as soon as she or he matriculates to the University of Tennessee. We'll take 120 hours of undergraduate coursework in our College of Education, Health and Human Sciences, and then continue on to post-baccalaureate work for year 5 before applying for sitting for the licensure test. This program will meet the requirements for Tennessee licensure in K through 5. In terms of the alignment with state master plan and with the needs of the state of Tennessee and of our citizens of the state of Tennessee, we feel that this aligns very well. There are a couple of ways. One, the drive to 55. Certainly, we know that of immense importance in attaining the goals in the drive to 55 is to make sure that our students get adequate preparation in K through 5 especially. And one of the highlights of this new degree program, which isn't on this slide, but which I'll point out to you, is that the enrollees in this program will take additional coursework in literacy. And so we hope that this program will, in fact, address one of the ongoing challenges that faces our state, and that is bringing our students, our pupils in K through 5, bringing them to the point where they can read to grade level, because all the research shows that if our students are not reading at grade level in grades 3 and 4, then they have a much higher degree of, much higher chance rather, of not earning that high school diploma. The other aspect of this program that I think is especially key is that we place our student interns in low SES, rural and urban schools, and so they get exposed during that internship to different cultures than they may be used to, and so they come prepared, we hope, to the classrooms to be able to deal with students who are disadvantaged or who show the achievement gaps. It certainly is in accord with our mission for educating, discovering, and connecting. Educating is obvious. Discovering, our teachers work with their master teachers on some kind of master's project that will sometimes lead to publications, but will certainly equip them to better understand the needs of our students and the needs of practitioners in the school as they get prepared to enter the school. And of course, the internship hours will connect them directly to our communities. The demand, I think, is obvious. We are addressing a teacher shortage in Tennessee, and in addition to the literacy training, they will also get training in social studies, science, math, English as a second language, and by doing so, be prepared to address some of those needs. They, as I said before, by their participation in the urban and rural communities, low SES schools, they will be prepared to teach those children who are in those categories. Finally, because this is a conversion of a program rather than a brand new program, we expect that our enrollments will remain steady, if not increase. And I think that there is a really good chance of increasing, because now students will be, we have many students who come to us who are passionate about being a teacher, being passionate about being an elementary school teacher. Up to this point, they have had to declare a major in a College of Arts and Sciences, which we see as a potential barrier, because what they want to do is they want to learn about how to be the best elementary school teacher possible. So I believe, and we believe, that this program will give them direct entry to a cohort who shares their passion, to advisors who can help direct them and guide them on their path to becoming elementary school teachers for our state, and remove from them the additional burden of having to choose a major in a discipline that maybe is not their first choice, and allow them to go directly into elementary education. And with that, you can see here we have a quotation from Executive Director of Human Resources in Knox County, who believes that the training that our students will get will prepare them to enter a diverse classroom and be of benefit to our children in our state of Tennessee. I'm happy to take any questions, and I also have Dr. David Chihak with me, Associate Dean of the College of Education, Health, and Human Sciences, to answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much for your attention.
Yes, thanks so much, Dr. Zomchik. We really appreciate the presentation and happy to entertain questions or comments. Very good. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the program.
So moved. Stafford.
Commissioner Stafford with the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Comptroller.
Second.
Second from Comptroller Wilson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope?
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner?
Aye.
Commissioner Coben?
Aye.
Commissioner Moser?
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson?
Aye.
Commissioner Winton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson?
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard?
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler?
Aye.
Chairman, you have 11 ayes, 0 nays.
Very good. The motion to approve is carried and the program is approved. Congratulations, Dr. Zomchik. Okay, the next sort of phase of our meeting involves some internal housekeeping with the election of officers for the next year. Pursuant to Article 5 of our Rules of Procedure, we are to elect officers annually at our regular summer meeting to serve one-year terms. The officers consist of a chair, 2 vice chairs, and a secretary. The chair and each vice chair must reside in different grand divisions of the state. The current commission officers are as follows: myself as chair, Commissioner Vernon Stafford as vice chair from the Western Grand Division, Commissioner Dakasha Winton as the vice chair from the Eastern Grand Division, and Mayor A.C. Wharton as the secretary. At this time, I'll open the floor for nominations for these offices.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Coben. I would like to nominate you, Evan Cope, to continue as chair of the commission for the coming year.
Thank you, Commissioner Coben. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, this is David Lillard. I'll second and ask if there's any way we can take all this at one time.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't hear the last part of that.
I'm saying I'll send the nomination, but I've asked also if there's any way we can take all of these officers at one time. Our intention is to re-elect and should these individuals.
Oh, sure. Yes, sir. I think that would be fine. Thank you for the second. At this point, I'll turn the hearing over, I think, to Commissioner Coben.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If there's no objection to Mr. Wilson's suggestion, I think we would propose that we would consider the office elections as a slate with a single vote at the end of all the nominations. And if that's acceptable, I would entertain a motion to that effect right now.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second by David Lillard.
Are there any questions? Then we will now ask for a roll call vote. Ms. Jennings, please call the roll.
Chairman Coe?
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner? Aye. Commissioner Coben?
Aye.
Commissioner Moser?
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson?
Aye.
Commissioner Winton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
I'll give a very aggressive aye.
Comptroller Wilson?
Justin.
Comptroller Wilson?
Absolutely aye.
Treasurer Lillard?
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler?
Aye.
Commissioner Coben, you have 11 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you very much. We will now take nominations for Vice Chair of the West Grand Division.
Okay,
Do I
thanks
have-
very much. I'd like to nominate Vernon Stafford for this position, please.
Do we have a second?
Second. Mr. Hassler.
All right, and we will now seek nomination for the Vice Chair of the East Grand Division.
This is Vernon Stafford. I'd like to nominate DeKasha Winton for the Vice Chair of the East Grand Division.
And is there a second?
This is Jay Moser. I'll second.
We now seek nominations for Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would like to nominate Mayor A.C. Wharton for this position.
Is there a second?
I'll second. You kind of scared me. I just want to make sure we're talking about Secretary of THEC.
For safe, for the time being. Okay, we'll now take one vote on these 4 nominations as a slate. Ms. Jennings, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Coe?
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner?
Aye.
Commissioner Coben?
Aye.
Commissioner Moser?
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson?
Aye.
Commissioner Winton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson?
Aye.
Treasurer Lillard?
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler?
Aye.
Commissioner Coben, you have 11 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jennings. Congratulations to all of these officers, and I will now pass the gavel back to Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Coben. Thanks very much. The last item of business we have to attend to is the appointment of an audit committee member, and for that purpose, I will call on Director Krause.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really briefly, statutorily, we have a THEC and TSAC joint audit committee that performs a very important function. In fact, yesterday, we actually gathered and had a very in-depth multi-hour audit committee meeting. We are presenting to you today our membership for the coming year, and from the THEC side, I want to thank both Dr. Dishner and Commissioner Coben for their willingness to serve, and on the TSAC side, we have Sharon Hayes and Dr. Presnell, but that is not before you for approval. These are for the THEC members only, and with that, take any questions.
Any questions for Director Krause? If not, I'll entertain a motion to appoint the members that have been nominated.
This is Vernon Stafford. I move approval of the slate as provided.
Thank you, Commissioner Stafford. Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Hassler.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hassler with the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Coe?
Aye.
Commissioner Dishner?
I appreciation for the opportunity to serve.
Commissioner Coben?
Aye.
Commissioner Moser? Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson? Commissioner Watson? Commissioner Winton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
Aye.
Comptroller Wilson?
Because I'm comptroller, I abstain.
Treasurer Lillard?
Aye.
Commissioner Hassler?
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 ayes.
Very good. The motion carries and the members are appointed. We are at the end of our meeting, and I'm happy to entertain any comments that any of my fellow commissioners would like to make here at the close of this meeting. The floor is open for any comments.
May I be recognized, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank everyone that emailed back yesterday. You guys were super kind to me and welcomed me with open arms to the commission. I'm just really excited to get to work with you all this year. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, and we appreciate your service. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, may I have a couple comments?
Yes, sir, please.
Part of this is going to echo something that was said earlier. First, though, I want to tell Mr. Hassler that you have a tremendous opportunity in front of you, and I hope that you will take the chance to be an active participant in this group and also be a sponge. You have exposure to some incredible leaders from state government, but also from outside of state government. And so please cultivate those relationships and learn from those, but also let us learn from you. Second, if I can somewhat be redundant, but I just want to say to Mr. Krause how fortunate we are that you are at the end of this organization during this challenging time. You have been an incredibly dynamic and thoughtful leader for this organization, and I'm glad to see that you are being recognized not only within the state but nationally for your leadership. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with someone of your caliber and the team that you have built.
Well said.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Well said. Well said, Mr. Secretary. Other comments? Let me just conclude by I can't say it any better than Secretary Hargett said it, but obviously we're thrilled that Mike and our staff have received the recognition that they have, and we're grateful for their service, and obviously all of us are so deeply proud of the work that you do day in and day out to make Tennessee's higher education system a model for the nation. There being no other comments or business before this commission, I will announce that our next meeting will be November the 6th, 2020. Obviously right now, we don't know where the meeting will be. God willing, we can meet together in purpose, but if that's not possible, then obviously this mode of meeting also works. I wish you all the very best and look forward to seeing you soon. Meeting is adjourned.